My dear students, I am Sunil Ranjan and I am an English teacher. In this session, I am going to take up John Ruskin, and his period was 1819 to 1900. And I would like to give a quotation of John Ruskin. He said, "Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of intelligent effort." And another quotation is, "Fine art is that in which the hand, the head, and the heart of man go together." Well, now coming on to John Ruskin. And I hope you enjoyed the two quotations that I gave, and they were said by John Ruskin. John Ruskin was an English artist and a leading art critic of the Victorian era. A multifaceted individual, he was also a prominent social thinker and writer who wrote on varied subjects including geology, architecture, myth, ornithology, literature, education, and political economy. A nature lover, his artworks were often of plants, birds, landscapes, and he emphasized on the connections between nature, art, and society in his writings. The only son of a prosperous merchant, he developed an early interest in art, primarily influenced by his father's collection of watercolor paintings. As a young man, he was influenced by the works of painters such as J.M.W. Turner, John Constable, and John Sell Cotman, and the writings of preachers like Charles Simeon, John Cable, Thomas Arnold, and John Henry Newman. He also traveled widely, which inspired his artistic pursuits. He gained widespread recognition for what became the first volume of Modern Painters, a book on art criticism. The popularity of the book prompted him to add later volumes in his subsequent years. In addition to the art, he was knowledgeable about several other subjects as well. He also published a series of social essays in the Cornhill magazine that he later collected as Unto His Last, and authored a series of articles on economic subjects published in Fraser's magazine. He also traveled widely as a young man. His experiences of visiting different places enriched his knowledge of the world and gave him the chance to observe nature in its varied states. From a young age, he maintained notebooks in which he made drawings of maps, landscapes, and buildings. As a writer, he published short stories, short pieces in both prose and verse in magazines. By the mid-1830s, he published what would become the first volume of Modern Painters in 1843. In his work, he argued about the superiority of the modern landscape painters over the so-called old masters of the post-Renaissance period. The work became a popular one, and over the next 17 years, he produced 4 more volumes. His work emphasized on symbolism in art, expressed through nature. John Ruskin also had a keen interest in architecture, particularly in the Gothic revival. In 1849, he published The 7 Lamps of Architecture, detailing the 7 moral categories that Ruskin considered vital to and inseparable from all architecture: sacrifice, truth, power, beauty, life, memory, and obedience. The only fairy tale he ever wrote, The King of the Golden River, was published in 1851. It became an early Victorian classic, which sold out 3 editions. An illustrated tale, it was a story of the triumph of love, kindness, and goodness over evil. From 1851 to 1853, he made extensive sketches and notes that ultimately became his 3-volume work, The Stones of Venice. He developed his work from the technical history of Venetian architecture, from the Romanesque to the Renaissance, into a broad cultural history. As an artist, he occasionally exhibited his watercolors in the United States and in England at the Fine Arts Society and the Royal Society of Painters in Watercolor. His artistic creations were based on detailed botanical, geological, and architectural observations. He was also a renowned teacher. His popularity as a lecturer increased tremendously during the 1850s. He taught art and architecture to the students. His lectures at the Art Treasures exhibition, Manchester in 1857, were collected as The Political Economy of Art and later as A Joy Forever. So, I hope you understood my article on John Ruskin, and I hope you'll do better if you listen to it again and again so that you get an idea about John Ruskin. So, dear students, thank you very much for watching me, and if you have subscribed to my channel, wonderful. If you haven't, do subscribe so that we are together again in future. Thank you.